Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I made a Bulls video just a minute ago. Encourage everybody to check that out. Essentially, we're talking about the Patrick Williams rumor, and allegedly they're ready to trade Patrick Williams' contract of 5 years, 90 mil. Craziness. But at the end of the day, I felt like one of the best places for that contract is probably the LA Lakers, in place of some garbage. Because what it gives you, in theory, is a small forward who can play a little defense. I don't know how well he is defensively, but he was drafted to be somebody who should be able to defend, rebound, help you in the open court. Just a two-way wing, which is ultimately what we're after. Now, do I want him at a 5-year deal, $18 million a year? No, I do not. But do I think I'm going to probably find better than that? No, not without giving up picks. At least when you make a trade like that, because the contract's so trash, you should be able to do it without giving up any first rounders, and that's ultimately what we need. Problem is, it hurts us in other areas in terms of our flexibility. But Patrick Williams is a younger guy, and a lot of what we have $18 million wrapped up in is multi-year trash any damn way. Gabe Vincent, Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes. This is multi-year trash any damn way. Our $18 million is going to garbage regardless. So we might as well make it more concise into a player that can help fit a need and replace it. Replace a couple of these dudes with that horrible contract, and then create the roster spot that would allow us to call up Quincy Olivari, which is ultimately, I think, a plus in and of itself if we can create a roster spot, especially since we're wasting roster spots on people like Bronny James. So, you know, these are the type of things the Lakers really need to consider doing. And you're not going to get a good trade going for yourself without giving up picks, man. And I think all these trades that people are talking about bringing on that have us sending out future equity is going to be something that's regrettable in the future. I really do. You know? And at some point in time, we got to be honest and say, we're really not going to win a championship with what we have right here either. So we gotta bring some new blood in. We gotta create that roster spot so that we can call up some players that need to be called up. And there needs to be some accountability provided to our basketball team as it pertains to identifying that bringing back the same roster is not good for us this year. And we did that. We chose to do that. And maybe we need to undo some of that. Some of these guys just need to go, man. You know, and look, I don't pull punches, nor do I find myself being happy with having not to, if that makes any sense. Meaning that I wish everybody was playing well and I didn't have to like call people out or call people trash or whatever the hell I be saying. Like, I really would love to not have that be something I see is necessary. But at this point, I'm ready to move on from some specific people, man. Rui Hachimura, I'm cool, bro. I'm cool. I like Rui a lot, man. As a guy, as a person on the team, he's solid. Good for the locker room, I think. But some of the stuff he do on the court, man, I just think I can get more bang for my buck based on the specific needs of my team, man. And his upside is capped off, in my opinion, by what it is I've seen. How he's utilized doesn't get the most out of him. It doesn't appear like it's on the verge of doing so. I think he needs to be a power forward. And I don't think we have the role for him to be a power forward so long as Bron is on his team. So in asking him to be a small forward, he's playing out of position. I can swap him for a guy that can actually play the position. You know, I like the big body Rui, but if it doesn't translate to boards, if it doesn't translate to defense, then he's a big guy that doesn't translate to being big any damn way. You know, I was listening to Trevor Lane this morning saying something along the lines of, and this was before he discussed Rui's one rebound game. I don't think he realized at that point that Rui only had one board. But he said he would keep Rui in the starting lineup for the specific reason of being a better rebounder than Dalton Knecht. I want to put on the record to say I don't think that Rui's a better rebounder than Dalton Knecht. I don't. I think we are more likely to get boards with Dalton on the floor. I think Dalton is just a better rebounder all the way around. He's shown me that he can get 6 offensive rebounds in one game. You know, get 7 boards. Even on an off night, he's get you like 4 or 5 boards. He's a solid rebounder. So I don't think Rui particularly is a good rebounder. I think he's a bad rebounder for his size, and just in general, he doesn't find himself having a knack for the boards. So if I'm looking to provide myself what equates to size, I don't think swapping Rui Hachimura for Dalton Connect really equates to the areas that sides actually benefits you in. Because neither one of them can defend. Neither one of them have any, real ball handling strengths. As it pertains to defending, neither one of them are going to be on-ball defenders. So it's like, yeah, does Rui have more size on him? He may be more difficult to deal with as it pertains to once he puts his back to the basket, he can back down some smaller guys, maybe shoot over them, draw fouls. And in that way, it equates to him being better as it pertains to the size mattering. But he's not good at big man things. You can't put him on Jokic. You know what I mean? You can't necessarily have him on traditional fours all the time because he's usually a cone. He's usually getting scored on repeatedly. So as a Laker fan, I just want some understanding as to what his size really benefits me when I'm going to him with the intention of him providing me a big body. What does it actually equate to in regards to those areas? It just doesn't. It doesn't equate. You know what I mean? He's getting out rebounded by people like Bradley Beal. And he's constantly hurt. It's not like he's some bruising dude that's just super durable. He'd be out with injuries you don't even see him get. He rolled an ankle in practice, you don't even know what the hell happened. Rui's out. Why? Who knows? It's like he's fragile. He's big, but he's fragile. So it's like, and it doesn't also equate to the aggressiveness as well. Like big players you want to see, do Zion-like things. Push people around. Be big. Nah, he's shooting mid-range jumpers. He might as well be 200 pounds. For his play style, he basically is 200 pounds. So I'm more likely, in my humble opinion, to get the big man stuff out of Dalton Connect than I am out of Rui. More boards. Like, he's going to score more. His ceiling is higher scoring the ball, even though they're both very efficient shooters and probably should be fed more, both of them. It doesn't equate to me having what I need on the floor when I have other issues. So it's like, for me, I can afford to move on from Rui. I don't particularly think he's going to thrive coming off the bench in this unit. He might, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just at a point where it's like, he's probably the most likely piece that someone would actually want, and that I'm actually likely to be happy to move. Because the rest of the stuff I want to move, nobody wants. And the stuff that other people want, I don't want to move. You see what I'm saying? Rui's the only common denominator there. Like, I can live without Rui because I can't move stuff I want to move. You know what I mean? He's the one. He's the one. So that's where I'm at right now. I like Rui, and I think other people will like him too, and that's why I got him on the trade block. In my opinion, he's probably one of the first things I'm offering up. Him and D'Angelo Russell's expiring contract are the things that I think somebody would actually take. Because Gabe Vincent, nobody gonna want. Vanderbilt, hell no, not right now. Not until he proves he can get back on the floor and be healthy. Jackson Hayes, no. Max Christie, no. I mean, someone would want Max Christie, but like the way he's been playing, that contract looks bad right now. And I think when you have perimeter defensive issues like we do, the last thing you need to be doing is shopping your best perimeter defender. You know what I'm saying? So we probably need Max. At the end of the day. Even though he's not playing that well, he provides specific needs. So it's like, all right, the upside is worth me keeping him based on that and the needs. But what else are we looking at? Austin Reeves, I don't want to move, right? I don't believe our franchise sees that as somebody we'd be willing to move. So that's out. Dalton, obviously, I'm not moving. Ron, AD, obviously, are not being moved. So, what do we have? Jalen Hood-Schifino, you might be willing to move him, but he's not worth nothing today. Max Lewis, same thing, not worth anything today. So these are the assets that you're holding on to. Cam Reddish, He's expiring, but nobody, I mean, he's not really worth anything in the market. Probably worth more to you than he is the field, to be honest with you, given the fact that you have the perimeter defensive needs. You need him more than the field does. The best place for him is right here. So, like, you see what I'm saying, you guys? Like, our stuff isn't really worth anything, ladies and gentlemen. Koloko's not really worth anything. You probably need him here. Again, the Lakers need him more than the field does, based on him being a backup shot blocker and we needing something like that. So it's like even some of the stuff that the field would consider trash is necessary for us to keep, just for the fulfillment of our needs. And so I look at Rui Hachimura, I'm like, man, if I got to start trading away usable trash just to bring in some talent that maybe helps fill some needs, I'm opening up more holes as I close holes. So it's like, it doesn't equate to me being pleased with myself, making decisions to improve the roster. I'm not actually improving the roster, is what I'm saying. So, look at your options, Lakers. Like, what are you moving? What are you moving that someone would actually want? And look, we're at a space where I have to be honest. We really should do something. And I'm the guy that doesn't want to make trades that ultimately move on from picks. And so I respect that if there's no other way to do that, then it's going to equate to us not doing anything. And I would probably sign off on that because I really don't want to move picks. But just the same, I think people are getting to a point where they're like, okay, well, we know we have a team that can kind of win something if we just make the right small marginal moves. And you need to manifest a way to make that possible, is what people are saying to you if you're the GM. And that public pressure is something that I think holds some wisdom. It's not empty when people say that. And I just think that if there's a deal like a Patrick Williams that you can get a two-way wing that ain't going to cost you no first-round picks, then it probably is in your best interest to package a Rui and whatever you can and maybe try to do something like that. I wouldn't be comfortable moving Rui for Patrick Williams because I actually rather have Rui. But that doesn't, I think he's more valuable. I think Patrick probably fits better, but I think Rui's probably a little more valuable based on lesser years. And I don't know if who's better player. They're probably the same, basically. But just for the sake of getting something new into this situation so that our DNA can change, as I often describe, DNA being the mental makeup of the team in this conversation. Just to change the DNA, man. Bring in some guys that are not afraid of Jokic. Bring in some people, you know what I mean? Like, just some people that are not hung over by the old problems that the Lakers are carrying with them as they continue to be together. Move some of these people so you don't have some of those problems. And so, who's the mainstay that you can move that anybody would actually want? It's Rui. It's Rui. It is Rui Hachimura. And, of course, D'Angelo Russell expiring. It's probably the way to go. So, that's what I think people should do. I think the Lakers should really consider removing the picks from the equation because I'm not giving you any picks. But if there's a deal out there that I can make that may bring me a not-so-great contract, that might be the lesser of the two evils. It might be. Especially if you can get that team that's bringing on that bad contract to give you maybe some second rounders or even a first rounder protected or something like that. If you can bring on some tradable draft equity instead of giving up tradable draft equity, it might be worth boxing yourself in a little bit as it pertains to your overall contractual flexibility. It might be. Because at least you could say you're fixing the team this year and you've adhered to the demand that you improve the roster. That might be the way to go. Dorian Finney-Smith. If somebody will give you Dorian Finney-Smith without giving up 2 picks or a pick, you might want to do something like that. So that you can bring in that piece that ultimately will fit in at the 3 spot, play some damn defense, hit a corner 3, and hopefully stay healthy for longer than 60 games a season. That's really what people want from the Lakers right now. And that bruising center that they want real bad, Valanciunas, something like that. I don't know, man. Like me personally, I don't find any value in Valanciunas. I personally think he's washed. I think we get him here and find out he's another Gabe Vincent in a different position. I really do. I don't think Valanciunas has anything left at all. And I think he's the type of guy that you're likely going to find out is hurt in the damn playoffs. So even as you bring him to you for the Nuggets series, he probably ain't even going to be there. That's literally what I think of Valanciunas. That's why he's not on my list. Robert Williams, same exact thing. In the grand scheme of things, I think you bring these people here and they're not available when you need them the most. That's exactly what I think happens there. So I'm not even signing up for that. But just the same, do we need the big piece like that? Probably, yeah. You probably need that piece. You probably need to tell yourself that at least that player is in place. Better than to have that player on roster waiting on him to come back than to not have him at all and he ain't never walking through that door. You know, you got better chance of him coming through the door if he's on the roster, obviously. That's kind of like the lesser of two evils of what you're kind of toying with when you're trying to make decisions that ultimately benefit this team right now while not throwing away its future. And so, would I cave and make a trade for a Valanciunas? If they'll take a Gabe, obviously I'd be willing to do that. Trash for trash, like I said earlier. That's only trades I think could really make any sense in this apron era. If my trash fits better over there and your trash fits better over here, let's swap trash. And that's exactly what I'd be willing to do. Gabe Vincent for Valanciunas. No picks. Don't even think about it. I'm not even giving you Jalen Hood-Schifino, Max Lewis. I ain't giving you none of that. So if we can't make that trade that way, and I have to throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino, now you're going to be throwing them something too that maybe you don't want to part ways with Washington. That's how that works. Now we start talking about stuff that's going to make you uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I can totally see why Rob Pelinka may not be able to make a move. I could totally see why. Because in other words, if he makes the move, he probably caved in some way like this, to where he's throwing in stuff he has no business throwing in and taking back trash. And so you could say, okay, a move was made. Yeah, but what did it cost you? And given the fact the Washington Wizards fleeced us with the Russell Westbrook trade, I'm not really comfortable doing another deal with them. I'm really not comfortable with that. Fool me once, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, the people got to understand, like, when it comes down to it, the Los Angeles Lakers are not in the greatest position to make trades to improve their roster. And it may be you taking back a bad trade in order to execute any damn thing at all. And a bad trade for me is far worse than no trade at all, even in this environment. You know? So you're telling me to part with a pick is a problem. Straight up. And I hear people, give up one pick for Walker Kessler. Give up one pick for Dorian Finney-Smith or Cam Johnson. I'm not giving up no pick. I got LeBron James at 40 years old, about to retire any minute. That pick is going to be golden when it's drafted. Let's just be honest. The odds of that being a very good pick are very good. So as you give it away, you need to understand that before you do so. While you have it, those are great picks. When you move it to the next team, those are great picks. So if you're bringing back not so great stuff, guess what you've done to yourself? That's right. Shot yourself in the foot. The last time I checked, that hurts really bad. So I don't know, man. I get it. I get Rob Pelinka's hesitancy to make any trades in this environment. I get it. But what I will say is this team is shot mentally. They shot, man. And maybe when we were making decisions in regards to not bringing the team back, we didn't really think that this was that. Maybe we thought that they might, with a new coach in place, might have a clean slate in regards to facing certain challenges. But the truth of the matter is, the data was always there. You losing to the Sacramento Kings a million times in a row and the Denver Nuggets a million times in a row says something about your mental makeup. As a team, that you keep getting beat by the same thing over and over again. That you keep facing the same thing over and over again and aren't figuring out nothing that works. But not only are you losing, but you're losing in the same fashion. That really tells us something about the mental makeup of the squad. And I think that's new data for me. The wisdom to respect that data is new for me. This year taught me that. And so that's the problem there. As I assess what the problem is, I look and see a team that I just don't think can really overcome challenges anymore. I just don't think they can overcome challenges. I think in order for them to be successful, they have to avoid certain challenges, so long as the DNA stays the same. So, does that change things in regards to the need to improve the roster in order to be satisfied or to keep my job as a GM? Probably does. A guy like Rob Pelinka, the difficulty in this situation is doing things for the betterment of the future of the franchise, but not making it to that moment as the GM. I, as a Laker fan, appreciate that. He, as a GM, should not. And that's when it becomes a conflict within him to try to figure out if he wants to really care about our future as much as he cares about keeping his job. And, you know, it's all about Jeannie's perception of such and how willing she is to cave to public perception when the pressure comes after this team fails and no trade is made. Does she cave to the Laker pressure that comes from a casual fan who's going to be pissed off that you didn't make any trades? Because you best believe a lot of these talking heads are going to be gassing them up to doing that, being that way, feeling that way. Very few of them are listening to me. You understand what I'm saying? They listening to the people that are saying you suck for not making trades. And so does Rob Pelinka get to keep his job if he doesn't do something? Anything in this era? Even if there's nothing responsible to do, can he save his butt by doing what's right for our future? And the answer is, not so long as people don't realize that that's what he's doing. Not so long as people don't realize that they should preserve their future over making bad trades that improve this roster marginally. As long as that's going to be the consensus, it's going to be a pressure for him to do irresponsible things with our asset class, which is devastating when you consider the fullness of what it actually is going to do to us if he starts thinking that way. He could tank this thing, making everybody happy today. Yay, we traded 2 picks for Valanciunas and Dorian Finney-Smith. That is an absolute nightmare for all of us who actually know what the hell we're doing. That's a nightmare. That ain't nothing to want. But he'll probably keep his job in the short term. You know what I'm saying? It'll be blasted later on when people realize how bad it was, but by the time they figure that out, he would have lasted another couple years as GM. Just like every other mistake that he made leading into this situation. It's like the Russell Westbrook trade. Everybody was happy when it happened. Now we look back on it and say, boy, was that horrible. Yeah, so will everything else that you guys are asking him to do right now to improve this whole sad, weak-ass roster. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. So as long as Jeannie is ready for the storm, he can continue making decisions for the betterment of our future and keep his job. That's what the truth is. Because what's best for the Lakers, if it ain't what's best for him, then it's probably not in his best interest to do it, redundantly speaking. So, you know, just conservative but diligent is the word. Conservative but diligent. You can be conservative with your picks, but be diligent in improving this roster in other areas. And you can't, in my opinion, harbor flexibility contractually and keep your picks in place. The market is essentially telling you can't do that. The market is more or less saying either you give up your picks or hold on to the contracts that you like a lot. And then if that's the situation, something has to give if you want to improve your roster. It becomes possible, basically. So, you know, it's probably cheaper to keep all this crap together. The problem is, it's broken. It's broken. As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's broken. That's the problem. If you could get D'Angelo Russell playing like D'Lo, if you can get Rui Hachimura to look like he did at the start of the season, if you can get Vanderbilt back on the floor, if you can turn Gabe Vincent into anything worth anything at all, if you can get back to the drawing board with your young players and start utilizing them and turn them into what they were drafted to be, then you don't have to make any moves because the stuff you have is good. Problem is, you can't do none of that. All this stuff is trash right now for the most part. Even the good stuff ain't playing that great. It's being honest. Some of the stuff You know, it's not looking good as it pertains to it being irreversible for some of these issues. Don't look reversible. So, you know, it's a wash season, Lakers fans. I'm here to tell you that I'm all but positive you don't walk away with a championship this year. All but positive. All but positive. And so if you believe what I believe, then you're already thinking about future flexibility. Not necessarily improving this roster marginally or whatever. Get your big man so you can feel better about going up against Jokic as he torches him too. He gonna torch him. I've said this more than once this week. You can feel great about getting your little 300-pound center. Jokic is still going to torch him. It's not going to equate to you being better than Denver Nuggets. It's not. Valanciunas is not going to save you. Walker Kessler is not going to save you. It's not. Those players are not good enough to stand in front of Jokic and legitimately stop anything he's trying to do. All he does is make you feel better about having somebody big enough to match up with it. Not good enough, big enough. That's all that does. Make you feel better. That ain't necessarily going to translate to you being any more successful. And if I'm on the other side of the negotiation table, I'm going to make you pay for that. I'm going to make you pay a pick or two to get that piece because I know how bad you think you need it. How much you think it saves you from your troubles, for which it most definitely doesn't. But hey, as long as you don't know that, I can make myself pick rich off of that. You can have my bad Capella contract. You can have this broken down Robert Williams III. You can have this washed up Valanciunas. Just give me a pick. Don't you have that Jokic problem? Yeah, you do, right? It's gonna cost you. And so, if like in that environment, y'all, that's why I try to use my voice to try to be of reason. To say, hey, in the long run, you're gonna regret doing whatever you have to do to make yourself feel better about this broken roster. The stuff that you need to do in terms of improving the roster so that it can actually be not broken anymore, you don't have enough to trade to get back that type of return. And it's because you've mortgaged so many picks in the past that ultimately that is the case. If you wouldn't have done any of that Russell Westbrook garbage, you would have most definitely had enough to make the trades necessary to improve your roster. And even better, you would have never been this broken in the first place. It's the nature of doing those things that made you as broken as you are. And tell me how broken you're going to be tomorrow for continuing on that path, trying to patch up problems that are already in place because you've done this. This is what I understand. You're just making it worse for future teams who will have even less to patch up even worse problems. At some point in time, you got to stop the bleeding on that nonsense. Or reset the situation. Now, because people are not going to reset, you got to sit on what you have without being able to make yourself better right now so that you don't make yourself impossibly bad tomorrow. So that's what it really comes down to, man. I just need Laker fans who follow me to really grasp and understand that and stop putting pressure on our front office to do things that are going to make us impossibly bad tomorrow just so you can make yourself not good enough today. BDL44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.